22. I'm watching NASA live feed. Watch this. Two of them pop up. One of them goes away. Now we got a triangular object. They go away. NASA cuts the damn feed. That's typical.
Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. So I want to start off today's video with this mind-blowing, life-altering, world-changing news leading the headlines everywhere, which is the fact that NASA, aka Never a Straight Answer, plans to join the effort into investigating and researching UFOs. So, if you've seen this, many of you may have been extremely excited, and some of you may have had a little bit of an eye roll and wondered what I thought about this, and well, before any of you guys click off, don't. You guys are going to want to watch this video until the very end, because I promise you, if you click off halfway through this video, you're going to probably miss 3 or 4 other pieces of UFO footage. And so, just like the Pentagon did a couple of years back, we got the infamous Pentagon UAP report, and we were supposed to finally receive disclosure and know the truth about aliens, and well, we all know how that went. It was a big nothing burger, and it was more of the same from the government. In that instance, it was the Pentagon, but the government is the government. They all work in tandem with each other, and so the fact that NASA has come out, their associate administrator, stating publicly that NASA is going to be conducting a study which they will be financing to, quote, look at unexplained sightings with an open mind. Now, if you have been a viewer of mine for any extended period of time, you will know what a crock these headlines truly are. I've been doing this for 10 years, and when it comes to the UFO phenomenon and keeping it quiet, NASA and the Pentagon and the government, but specifically NASA, have been at the forefront of denying that the UFO phenomenon even existed and that we were all just a bunch of crazies wearing tinfoil hats. And yet, you're telling me that after almost a century of total suppression, secrecy, cover-ups, misleading information, disinformation being injected into the mix of the UFO research community, they are suddenly going to say, hey, sorry guys, even though for the past 60 some odd years we totally lied to you and made a joke of the UFOs, totally denying their existence, we want to come out and help and join the fight. And it's just very, very amusing to me, and it should be amusing to you guys too. And we know for a fact, and I've documented it, it's well documented, that the government has been covering up the existence of alien vehicles visiting Earth since dinosaur times. NASA, again, Never a Straight Answer, or another awesome acronym for it I like is Never Admitting Space Anomalies. So there you go, NASA, Never a Straight Answer. I know to some of you it may be exciting, and of course, I always like to look at life with the glass half full, you know, and I did back 3 years ago when the Pentagon reports came out. You know, they talk a big game. They have a couple people talk, you know, in front of Congress. The only mind-blowing UFO footage that's ever come out has always come from, you know, regular people sending it and, you know, posting it online and emailing it to me, and that's where it happens, all right? It's not coming from Elizondo. It's not coming from the Pentagon. They give no new information. It's always the same old talk, same old fluff. UFOs exist. We know they're out there, but Secure Team 10 will always be here. So now let's get to some UFO footage. I'm done talking pretty much for the rest of this video. So we're going to start out with this first clip, which is one of many of UFOs happening both on Earth and out in space that have been captured on camera. In this first clip, a piece of footage was captured during what looks like an air show, and it happens real quick, so we'll play it a couple times here. And so this news broke after the video was posted to Twitter by a guy named David Sugarman, who said at the time, quote, "I just returned from the Miami Air and Sea Show." So it was a sea show. He says, "I was curious what you all think this thing is that blazes past the screen. Looks like it came from the water. I shot this video in slow motion and that thing is moving." And so kudos to David Sugarman for posting this amazing footage, which was then later picked up by numerous news outlets and, UFO researchers. So tell me what you think. Now, on to the next clip, which is even more gnarly, that was posted as a response to the Twitter video you just saw. And so now we're flying, okay? We've got a camera in the cockpit of an airplane here. We can see the engine and the propeller spinning. We've got the same view as the pilot, and we're suddenly out of nowhere, this time, count them, 2 UFOs blast past this airplane. So there's one. Look at that thing. Looks like a disc or a saucer, which is then, because of the blurring effect, it's stretching it to look more cigar-shaped, and there is the second one, which looked to have less blur and looked even more like a saucer. But anyway, guys, tell me what you think of this. I think it looks more like 2 sort of disc-shaped, traditional saucers here, passing by very close to the propellers on this plane. I mean, this is some crazy footage. So, that was posted as a response to the Daytona, Florida air show UFO clip, but we are not done yet. Let's now get on to the next piece of UFO strangeness caught on video. And it was emailed to me by a viewer who was watching the ISS, or International Space Station's live feed. So we got the International Space Station up there, it's got cameras on it, and on those cameras, sometimes, strange unknown objects appear. Here's his video.
Alright guys, notice the date and everything at the bottom. It's the 9th, 2022. I'm watching NASA live feed. Watch this. 2 of them pop up. One of them goes away. Now we got a triangle object. They go away. NASA cuts the damn feed. That's typical.
Well, it don't get any more straightforward than that. Another really awesome piece of footage. The camera gives us a beautiful shot of planet Earth. We see the horizon line and the darkness of space beyond it. And suddenly, as the man says,
watching NASA live feed. Watch this. 2 of them pop up. One of them goes away. Now we got a triangle object. They go away. NASA cuts the damn feed. That's typical.
All right, so I love that, and I love this guy, and, his sentiments directly reflect mine. And the fact that they cut the feed when these objects appear, and have appeared throughout the years, it just solidifies that much more the validity of the footage. You saw the objects appear, you saw one of them disappear, and then come back, and then there was 3 or 4 of them, and then boom, the feed is cut, but it's never fast enough because there is a slight delay when they are cutting the feed, and you gotta remember, NASA has gotta have someone watching this feed 24/7 nonstop, and sometimes they cut it and say, well, it's just maintenance or interference, but once you've seen the footage I've featured on this channel, especially some of my ISS footage that has been picked up and featured in the past by Fox News, the New York Post, and so on, then you will definitely understand that this is not a glitch. They are deliberately cutting the feed because unidentified, unearthly craft are appearing and surrounding our planet and have been for likely thousands of years. And so while we're talking about strange things happening in outer space, let's go to the next bit of strangeness, this time posted r/UFOs on Reddit. The title of the post, Solar Prominence and Spacecraft. And so to give you some context, it's a video that someone captured from an extremely powerful telescope that has a filter on it that allows you to actually see the surface of the sun, along with the solar flares and plasma discharges constantly popping out into space. And in this footage, just as we see one of these solar flares erupting, what looks like at least in my opinion, to be a triangular unknown object, steadily passes the sun in view of the camera. So it's a very short clip, all right? You're seeing slowed down versions here, and this is some pretty crazy footage. First of all, because this person is zoomed in so close to the sun to where we're only seeing barely a quarter of it, that if this were a satellite or a plane passing by in our atmosphere or an Earth orbit, because of the zoom level, you wouldn't even see it. So a 747 jumbo jet could fly by and it would not show up on the camera because the telescope is looking past that plane and past any tiny little satellites that are orbiting the Earth. And at this zoom level, to be able to capture an object passing by the sun and actually have it somewhat in focus and actually see a shape, a triangle-like shape to it, that tells you that this object, whatever it is, it's much closer to the sun. Now, some of you may say, well, this it could be the International Space Station as it transits and orbits the Earth and passes by the sun. We have footage and photographs, countless photos and video footage of this very thing, and you're seeing that here. And so these are official telescopic images with a filter showing just how massive the sun is compared to the International Space Station, which is pretty giant. And so from Earth, this is what it looks like. And it has a very, very distinct shape. You can see both of the two very long rectangular solar panel arrays and then the other various main structure in the middle. And when looking at this footage posted to Reddit, I see a triangle. Whatever this is, it's moving steady. It's captured in multiple frames as it passes by the sun and into the darkness of space. You guys tell me what you think of this. Do you think it's the International Space Station? And the fact that it looks like a triangular shaped, sort of like a vector almost. And ironically, it's captured right as a solar flare is erupting on the sun, which is yet another rabbit hole we've gone down many times on how these UFOs fuel their ships. So tell me what you guys think. As I said earlier, these strange unknown objects, and I'm not saying that they're alien, I'm not saying they're not human, but these things are out there. They've been captured in deep interstellar space. We've seen what appear to be miles-long cigar-shaped craft, just lingering and moving, captured on some very powerful telescopes, almost super ships, if you will, multiple miles, if not hundreds or possibly thousands of miles in length or diameter. When it comes to NASA and their covering up of these objects, there's a number of examples I could give you, but if you want examples, just start from the first video of this channel and watch it until the very end. You will have a new outlook on UFO footage, and you will see cases that you have never seen before on any other channel. So these things are out there. They're not just in our skies, they're out in space. I love this photo here. This was taken during the Apollo 10 mission. Just another example to throw out there to you guys, because it's a very ominous image. So we went to the moon, right? And when we did that, we went to the moon multiple times, and those were called the Apollo missions. Now, before we actually went to the moon, we did some trial runs. We had Apollo 8, Apollo 9, Apollo 10, and this photograph was snapped during Apollo 10 as the astronauts are out in space near planet Earth. We get this partial view of the Earth, half of it in shadow, and what was noticed, and I've posted this before, but this photograph was taken back in the 1960s, and encircled in red here is an unknown object that looks very, like I said, ominous, trucking alongside the Apollo 10 capsule. And the astronauts of the various Apollo missions have in later years, and sadly a lot of these guys are gone now, but they plainly said that they witnessed unidentified objects following them when they were in Earth orbit and when they were on their way to the moon, while they were on the moon and on their way back home to planet Earth. Likewise, I've done many videos about this you'll find on this channel, going deep into the NASA Apollo transcripts where pieces are missing or redacted, showing clear evidence that these astronauts had witnessed and radioed back to Houston that they were witnessing unknown objects. And at that time, what they would say over the radio, they would use the term bogey. We have a bogey outside of the window. Or they would also use a term called Santa Claus, and that is another another code word we've done. I think I did a whole video about, so you may want to go to the channel and search the term Santa Claus to learn more about that code name. But just looking at this image from Apollo 10 and increasing the contrast the best I could, zooming in, this looks like if there were, if my mind could picture some sort of crazy abstract version of what an alien craft would look like from a civilization millions of years ahead of ours, I wouldn't think it would be sharp and rigid with nuts and bolts, you know what I mean? Like something that we would create. And whatever this object is here that seems to have structure to it, it's lit up. Part of it is being hit by the sun. The side is in shadow, much like the Earth. And the thing just has a very abstract looking shape to it, with these long sort of spiky structures coming up out of the top of it. And then, where it comes out towards its center mass and then curves back inwards and then back out towards the bottom. And, like I said, this is what I would think an alien ship would look like. Something that could shapeshift. Something that our tiny little earthly monkey brains just could not and will probably never be able to comprehend. And some people have said that this is the infamous Black Knight satellite. And I don't know any more than I think anyone else. It very well could be. But just another example upon the many other thousands that goes back to the idea of why I'm taking NASA getting into the UFO research game with a grain of salt, because between them cutting the feed to the International Space Station every time a UFO would appear, to them redacting and suppressing events and transcripts that occurred during the Apollo moon missions, to the plain as day fact that they've never told us the truth about anything before. Thank you guys for stopping by today. Throw this video a like and post a comment. It helps me in the algorithm. You guys stay safe, and I'll see you back with more UFO and alien related news in just a bit. Stay safe, guys.